Dr. Peter Glidden here for the second hour of Fire Your MD Now. Hey, remember Leave It to Beaver? Remember that TV show? Yeah, I love that show. I was a TV junkie growing up as a kid. I admit it. I admit it right here before God and the assembled audience. I was a TV junkie. Still am to a certain extent. There's a couple shows I love to watch. But I digress. Well, you remember Leave It to Beaver. Well, remember the guy that played Lumpy? Remember the guy that played Lumpy, you know, Beaver's nemesis, right? Well, Lumpy just died. 71 years old. It didn't tell us what he died from. 71 years old. He's dead. 71 years old. Let me say that one more time. 71 years old. Now, we have the genetic potential to make it to 120, but in the United States, we're lucky if we make it into our 80s. In Canada, you're lucky if you make it to 83. And the last 15, 20 years of life aren't that pretty, are they? But 71 years of age, and we think that this is normal. I mean, this is how bad it is here. We think that that's normal. Oh, you know, 71, he had a good life. Well, by my way of thinking, he died 50 years young. 50 years young. Now, why do people die before their genetic potential of 120? Because their bodies, they're moving through life in bodies that they don't take care of nutritionally. And look, if you exercise, you're not taking care of your body nutritionally. I don't care how many marathons you can run. I don't care what your time is for a mile. I don't care. I don't care how many rounds of golf you can play without getting winded. It doesn't matter, because it is only a matter of time until something breaks if you're not nutrifying the body. And if you're actively, aggressively exercising, you're burning through your nutrient stores that much faster, and you're going to make things break faster. So the reason that the car of the body, right, that we're driving around, our bodies, the suit of clothes that we put on at conception, the suit of clothes that we leave off when we die, the physical body, we don't know how to take care of it, and so we die in our 70s, we die in our 80s after decades of suffering. And we take this as just par for the course. That's just the way it's got to be. Well, no, it's not. It's not the way that it's got to be, as is evidenced by the people who live in the blue zones. The people that live in the blue zones are over 100 years old. They don't have doctors. They don't have Walgreens. They don't have medical insurance. They don't have hospitals. They're lucky if they have a roof over their head. They're 100 years old, chopping wood and carrying water. Well, my colleague, Dr. Wallach, figured out why, and a little bit later on in this segment, I'm going to tell you why they made it to be over 100 and how you can do the same. But in the meantime, we're going to go right back to the phones, and it looks like Joe from California has a question about Candida. Hey, Joe, thanks for waiting. You are live.
Hello, doctor. My son actually, he has candidiasis.
Yep.
And he's been diagnosed with, he's had stool specimens, he's got all the symptoms and so on. And he sort of goes on a curve where he's good. You can see one day it's not so bad, and then, you know, it's just a day in, day out, up and down. But the reason I'm calling about this candidiasis is because we want to give him Dr. Wallach's tangy tangerine, but it's got 1 gram of sugar per dose. And so I'm wondering how to deal with that, or if there's another product. The other product, the, what's it called, Osteoflex, that has no sugar in it, and we're giving him that.
Okay,
and
so...
just a little bit about his history. If you, he
go
was
ahead.
born... Okay, go ahead.
You bet. Go ahead. Good. Yeah, tell me about his history.
He had a normal birth, and he was fine until he got his first vaccination. And after that, he was extremely cranky, and he didn't sleep well.
Yeah.
But he kind of recovered from all that, but he was always sort of tentative after that, you know, not as aggressive as little boys are and so on. Yeah. And then when he got his first ear infections and he got amoxicillin, then he got that thrush really bad in his crotch and under his arms. And so we took him off the amoxicillin, but and then he went deaf. He was deaf, and he began to be like a deaf child. You know, he'd say, if he wanted something, he'd go, and point at it.
Yeah.
And it turned out his eustachian tubes were swollen from being allergic so much to things, and so he had to have tubes put in his ears. And then his language didn't develop well after that, because he he was deaf during the time that he was supposed to develop. He actually started talking at 9 months, but then he stopped when he got those ear infections. So he's really had a rough time. We've been up and down with lots of things. Right now, his main diagnosis is obsessive compulsive.
Yeah.
And he's allergic to a lot of things. He gets a swollen tongue sometimes in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know if there's another product that doesn't have any sugar in it.
Well, there's a lot of things to know moving forward here, okay? So the stuff that you need to be more concerned with your child, given his history, and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is the 115 fruits and vegetables that are in there. Because that means there's 115 different types of protein that he could potentially be allergic to. And if he's had this much trouble historically with food allergies to the extent that it made him partially deaf because of a chronic consistent swelling of the eustachian tube, which for the listening audience is the tube that goes from the middle ear down into the back of the throat that makes your ears drain. That's why when you yawn, you can pop your ears, or, you hold your nose and you blow and your ears can pop. It's because of the action of the eustachian tube. The problem here with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine would be the fruits and vegetables that are in it that I can almost guarantee you he's going to have an allergic reaction to. The sugar that's in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine comes from sucrose.
It's a maltose.
Well, there's maltodextrin, and there's also sucrose in it. Fructose, I'm sorry. Maltodextrin and fructose,
it
right?
It says on the can, other ingredients, maltodextrin, citric acid, blah, blah, blah.
Fructose, yeah.
And then fructose, yes. Fructose, citrus.
Yeah, and stevia, right? Now, there's stevia also in there. So, but the sugars in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine are irrelevant as far as Candida goes. And this is a noteworthy thing worth talking about.
Yeah.
I did a 45-minute webinar on sugar that's in the archives of my online health recovery subscription program that you might want to just pony up and pay $17 for 1 month and then cancel the subscription after you watch it unless you really like it, and then you can stick around. But sugar is not the Antichrist. You couldn't blink an eyelash without sugar. Sugar is the gasoline of the body. Your body loves sugar. Your body needs sugar. No, it doesn't matter. Your body prefers glucose, but it'll take sugar sugar in whatever form it can. The problem with sugar is twofold. Number one, whether your body has the requisite nutrients to be able to process sugar efficiently. If it doesn't, if your body doesn't have vanadium and chromium and about 17 other minerals that it needs to process sugar efficiently, even a healthy amount of sugar ingested by the human body will linger in the bloodstream too long because the body is inefficient at sticking it inside the cells where it needs to be. So if sugar lingers in the blood, it's going to feed things that are in the blood like yeast and bacteria, right? So that's the problem, is how efficient the body is at metabolizing sugar, number one, and number two, especially in the United States, but not with your child, I'm assuming, it's how much sugar we ingest on a daily basis, for goodness sake. Most people, the way that they eat here, in one Coca-Cola, there's 7 teaspoons of sugar, man, and that's way too much. But on a relative scale of things, sugar is not the Antichrist, Joe, and normal amounts of sugar are necessary for health. Normal amounts of sugar are necessary for health, all right? So, and the amount of sugar that's in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is in no way, shape, or form going to do anything to facilitate the growth of fungus or yeast or candida inside your child's body. However, I wouldn't give him the Beyond Tangy Tangerine because he's got multiple food allergies and he's probably going to have an allergic reaction to it, so it wouldn't be my first choice. What would be my first choice in this case would be something called Ultimate Classic. The Ultimate Classic would be the way to go for your child. And also, we don't need to overlook the obvious here, because when we're trying to fix candida, we always do, it's like the 1-2 punch, right? We got to do 2 things, like the rope-a-dope, Muhammad Ali's rope-a-dope. Number 1, you have to take stuff that kills the candida. And number 2, you have to give the body the good bacteria that it needs, because the mere presence of the good bacteria will outcompete the yeast and the candida and it will drive the yeast away by sheer volume of numbers because there's only so much room in the digestive tract. And the reason that he probably got this was because of the antibiotics that gave him thrush. Thrush, of course, is a yeast infection in the mouth. And where do yeast infections come from? The most common source of yeast infections anywhere in the body is post-antibiotic use. Why? Because antibiotics kill good bacteria, but they don't kill the yeast. So they kill the good bacteria. Now the yeast has room to feed and breed, and so it does. So now we have to set the scales the other way. And it's the easiest and simplest way to do this is with a longevity product called Root Beer Belly. Root Beer Belly is a probiotic that you dissolve on the tongue. I would give him 2 packets of Root Beer Belly a day, and I would give him one capsule of Killer Biotic 3 times a day. Now, I'd give him, how much does he weigh, by the way? How much does your son weigh?
He's 25 years old now, and he weighs about 180 pounds, and he gets a ton of probiotics.
Okay, see, the problem with probiotics, right? The problem with probiotics is they have to make it through stomach acid in order to get to the intestinal tract. It's a living organism. And sometimes it'll make it through the stomach acid unscathed, and sometimes it won't. The Root Beer Belly is enterically coated, so it dramatically increases its chance of getting through stomach acid. And also, here's another trick. If you're going to be using probiotics for anybody, it's best to use the probiotics either between meals or, at best, is immediately before bed. Because immediately before bed, that's when your stomach acid is at its lowest amount. And the lower the stomach acid, the more chance of the probiotics making it through the stomach unscathed to the intestinal tract where it's necessary. Hey, Joe. I know, Dr. G, you should have been a singer. We're talking to Joe here. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden, your friendly neighborhood naturopath. Joe is calling up with a question about candida in his son. So when it comes to candida, Joe, we want to do 2 things. We want to kill it, and we want to outcompete it. So if you're giving him probiotics now, give it to him before he goes to bed.
We do.
That will help. How many is he taking? Do you have any idea?
Well, I'd have to look at it. He takes a lot. He gets it at night before he goes to bed. I think he gets it in the morning. Right now, one product we use is something called Culturel, which has some very strong types of Lactobacillus GG. Lactobacillus GG. It's supposed to be very hardy.
Yeah, it is very hardy. But
then, I don't know. We tried various different products.
All right, so give him 9 Killer Biotic a day, 9 Killer Biotic a day. And I'm taking it back what I said about the Ultimate Classic. Instead of the Ultimate Classic, give him the Ultimate Daily Capsules, the Ultimate Daily Capsules, and the Ultimate Mineral Caps, Ultimate Mineral Caps and Ultimate Daily Capsules. Give him 1 of the Ultimate Mineral Caps twice a day, and give him 2 of the Ultimate Daily Capsules 3 times a day. Give him 6 Ultimate Daily a day and 2 Ultimate Minerals a day, plus the essential fatty acids and the liquid calcium and the Killer Biotic. And that should do it. I mean, if the Killer Biotic...
I got the Ultimate Daily, the Ultimate Minerals, and what were the other ones? And then the Killer Biotics.
Yeah,
and what else?
And the liquid calcium, is he still taking the liquid calcium?
Liquid? No, he never has taken liquid calcium. He takes calcium pills.
Yeah, no, those aren't any good. I did a calculation. I talk about this in the lectures that I give frequently. In order to get the requisite amount of calcium that your body needs every day from a typical over-the-counter calcium tablet supplement, you need to take between 30 and 40 of the pills a day. A day. Dr. Wallach's, I have seen arthritis, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis resolve in 90 days with Dr. Wallach's calcium. Dr. Wallach's calcium, in my opinion, which is a good one, is the most effective absorbable calcium on the market. It eclipses all other calcium supplements in its efficacy, and there are 2 forms of it. One is called Osteo FX Plus. That's O-S like Sam, T like Thomas, E-O, Osteo, F like Frank, X Plus.
We are taking that. Longevity Osteo FX Plus.
Yeah, how much does your son weigh?
He weighs 180 pounds. He gets about an ounce a day.
All right, he needs 2, and he should take the second ounce immediately before bed. The recommendation for that product is 1 bottle per 100 pounds per month. So he's 180, bump it up to 200 pounds. He gets an ounce in the morning and an ounce at night. And if he takes it immediately before bed in a little water, he'll sleep much better and much more soundly throughout the night. And the only other thing he needs to take to round out his nutritional supplement program is some type of fish oil or plant oil. Okay. My favorite is the EFA Plus made by Longevity.
Now, let me ask you real quickly about hemp oil. I understand it's supposed to have better super omega-3s in it.
It does. Hemp oil is much better. The problem with hemp oil is it's almost impossible to find it in a nitrogenated gelatin cap.
I see.
Most hemp oils are found just in a bottle or in a normal, a vegetable cap, and it oxidizes. Well, he can, but when you take any oil that's in a bottle or that's in a gelatin cap that hasn't been nitrogenated, then you run the risk of consuming an oxidized oil. And we're not fans of oxidized oils at all. Okay. So, if I could find someone to make hemp oil in a nitrogenated gelatin cap, I would take that every day in a heartbeat, but it doesn't exist. So the best essential fatty acid supplement currently available on the market, in my opinion, is Longevity's EFA Plus. EFA Plus. It's nitrogenated. It's really a good product, and there's hardly any net negatives from that supplement at all. So that's what I would recommend. The EFA Plus, the Killer Biotic, the Osteo FX Plus, the Ultimate Daily Capsules, and the Mineral Caps. And the root beer belly, or just make sure he's taking the stuff that he's taking now immedially before bed. And if it's not working to your satisfaction, man, double the dose. That's never going to hurt with probiotics. It's never going to hurt with probiotics. Joe, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate your trust. Give me a call back in a couple weeks with the report. Move her out, 866-582-9933, 866-582-933. That's the number to call to speak to me live today, just like Jack from Pennsylvania did. Thanks for calling, Jack. It's your turn on Fire Your MD Now. You are live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden, how are you?
Good. What's going on, Jack?
Quick question, a little bit analytical on the chemistry side. So, Dr. Wallach talks about using colloidals, and from what I understand, the colloidals from the humate, from the prehistoric era, there's no way to completely get calcium from there because it's all mixed with all the different kinds of rare earths and all that. So you, like on the supplement labels where it says amino acid chelates, so the major minerals that need to be taken and supplemented in in bigger amounts, for example, calcium, magnesium, selenium, and all those, chromium, whatever, they're all chelates. So they're not really colloidals, as Dr. Wallach likes to say, right?
Well, there's a difference, where there is a difference, and let me explain the difference. So, in the Healthy Start Pack, right, which is 3 separate products, one of the products is a liquid calcium. And in the liquid calcium is a particular form of calcium and magnesium and boron and phosphorus, which are not in their natural state colloidal. But they have been subjected to a secret patented process, which I am not at liberty to divulge, which makes their molecular size very small and which dramatically facilitates the absorption into the cells of the body. So that's one thing, and you're correct in that regard. Now, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the liquid plant minerals, well, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, of course, is a part of the Healthy Start Pack. And there are other products that Longevity has, the most famous being the Cherry Mints, the plant-derived minerals, and the ultimate minerals. Those 3 products are specifically contain the colloidal, organic, plant-derived minerals that we obtained from the humic shale that Longevity has the exclusive mining rights to in southern Utah. All of those minerals, and there are 77 plant-derived, organic, plant-derived colloidal minerals, are trace minerals, weird things like americanium and europium and chromium and zinc, right? And they're in a colloidal form, which is different than the chelated form of the other minerals like the calcium and the magnesium, the boron and the phosphorus, which are in the OsteoFX+. Now, Wallach's whole thing is that the lion's share of the body's nutrient needs are minerals. But, when we think minerals, we think zinc and phosphorus and stuff like that. But from Wallach's point of view, the trace minerals are much more important for overall human health than are the things like calcium and phosphorus and boron and zinc that we think about mostly. So Longevity covers both bases, because the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and if you read the label, it says plant-derived mineral compound, right? And so in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you will find 77 organic plant-derived colloidal trace minerals, and in the white liquid calcium, you're going to find kind of a chelated form of the other stuff. So really, it's the best of both worlds from my point of view. And I've got to tell you, man, that I used to work for a vitamin company. I'm not going to tell you what their name was, but they only sold to physicians. Very famous vitamin company. They had really good stuff. The leaders in quality control in the vitamin industry. And for 10 years, I used their products exclusively. I mean, you can only buy their stuff as a physician. You can't even get their stuff as a naturopathic doctor. And since I've been using Wallach's stuff, I get better results. And everybody that I know that uses Wallach's stuff gets better results. And it's because of the combination of the amino acid chelated macro minerals and the colloidal plant-derived organic trace minerals. And I don't know if that answers your question. Did I do a good enough job there? Hello, Jack. Are you still with me? Oh, Jack dropped. Oh, I see the little Skype message here. I'm sorry about that. My producer's trying to keep me on the ball here, but I'm without my coffee this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What can I do? In any event, that's the technical description here, that there are 2 types of minerals that are found in Dr. Wallach's nutritional supplements. There's the organic plant-derived colloidal minerals, and then there's the amino acid chelates. And they're both in there for a reason, because they both do different things physiologically, and from our point of view, you need both to have optimal health. And I got to tell you that since I've been using both, the things that I've seen people recover from, I mean, literally, you wouldn't believe. And I don't even talk about on air the more remarkable things that I've seen people recover from, because you just wouldn't believe me and you think I was blowing smoke. But trust me, folks, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And I'm still waiting for Dr. Wallach to be wrong about something. The day that I can catch Dr. Wallach up on something having to do with human physiology, that's going to be a red letter day for Dr. Glidden. In any event, let's go back to the phones here. We're going to Pennsylvania to talk to Ray about UV protection. Hey, Ray, thanks for calling. You are live.
Yeah, ultraviolet radiation. What can people take to do naturally to protect themselves?
Vitamin E, like Edward, and selenium and antioxidants. These are the main things that you need, and really it's all about exposure, and the body has a natural way of helping to protect itself against this stuff. So, for instance, you might have noticed that the further you get closer to the equator, the darker people's skin is, and that's a reason for that, because the body develops its own levels of pigment in the skin requisite to the cause to help protect it from excessive amounts of UV radiation, which you will get more and more and more of the closer you get to the equator, which is a very interesting thing to talk about. However, remember, the body can't make stuff out of nothing. The body is subject to the laws of physics the same way that we are. So in order to make pigment, the body needs two things. It needs copper and it needs the amino acid tyrosine. Copper and tyrosine. So one of the easiest ways to help protect your body against excessive ultraviolet radiation exposure is just make sure you have enough amounts of copper and tyrosine in your body, and if you do, your body will generate pigment sufficient to the cause. Now, if you're an Irish guy and you're going to the tropics for vacation, or if you're like really, really fair-skinned Scandinavian and you go into the tropics for vacation, then just use SPF cream. And any SPF cream over 15, any SPF cream over 15 is useless. There's a bell curve as to how much SPF protection you get from different formulas, and after 15, they're all the same. So you don't have to spend extra money on SPF 65 or whatever. You just get up to SPF 15, and you're good. However, what I like to advise people to do who are going to the tropics on vacation is a little bit better, and it's a little easier. For an hour in the morning, between up until 10 a.m., lie out in the sun for an hour in the morning, and then again an hour in the afternoon after 3 p.m., for the first couple days that you're there, and the rest of the time, if you're at the beach or you stay under the umbrella or, use SPF cream or whatever. And if you slowly expose your skin to ultraviolet radiation and you have enough copper and tyrosine in your body, then your body's going to generate pigment which is sufficient to the cause. And this brings up a very interesting point, Ray. This brings up a very interesting point, because I always say that MDs are like colorblind art critics, right? And that their interpretation of data is based on an a priori built-in prejudice that they're not even aware is there. They don't know that they're colorblind, and yet they are. So you'll read about this all the time, that, the medical community says, don't expose yourself to the sun. Don't go out in the sun, because that's going to protect yourself. Sun exposure is going to increase your rates of skin cancer. Well, that's not true. Sun exposure without the requisite nutrients in the body will increase your rates of cancer. Just like going outside in cold weather in your bathing suit will increase the risk of your getting frostbite. You need to guard yourself against the stress of cold weather by bundling up appropriately. Well, you need to guard yourself against the stress of increased ultraviolet radiation exposure by making sure your body has antioxidants, tyrosine, and copper. And if you do those things, you're going to be good to go, and you're not going to need to worry about sun exposure. I mean, unless somebody's captured you and they're crucifying you on a cross in the middle of the Mojave Desert somewhere, then you're completely out of luck. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. I'm going to make copies of this and give it to the girls who work at the Natural Food Store.
Yeah.
Of course, they just use stuff from the drugstore.
Well, I know. See, this is nuts because, and again, a little bit of information is a bad thing. And this is why this is such an important, why our job is so important, Ray, and why we really lean on people like you. Because there's only a handful of people in the scientific community and in the professional community and in the lay community that understand this, that really get this and have thought it through and have really grokked it and understood it, which is why Wallach, in his wisdom, set longevity up as a networked business. That's why he did it, because we're growing an army of people who understand all of this and who don't have any problem spreading the word and getting as many people who will listen to it as will listen to it. That's why he did it. Nobody knows this. Everybody needs to. So, I applaud you for your consistent and continued support. And if you haven't already done it, I'm really going to encourage you specifically to become a longevity distributor and help us help you to spread this message of health recovery through medical nutrition, because as it turns out, Ray, you are the last best hope that your community has to live a healthy and wealthy life. I applaud your efforts. I appreciate your support, and I thank you for the phone call. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Call any time that you would like to. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up, in the last segment of this radio program, I'm going to tell you the keys to having a long, healthy life, longevity. The keys to having longevity as elucidated by Dr. Wallach in his book, Immortality, which was a rather exhaustive study, a cross-referencing study of the people that lived in the blue zones, the Incas, the Hunzas, the Afghanistans, the Bama people in southwestern China, the Okinawans in extreme southern Japan, the Vilcabambas in Peru, the Georgians in Russia, and a host of other people. Their life expectancy, 1 out of 250 in their culture lived to be over 100 with health. In the United States, it's 1 out of 25,000, and when we're over 100, it's rarely with health. We're in wheelchairs. We can't remember the names of our grandkids. Well, the people in the blue zones are doing something differently. It's not genetic. If you stick around with me, coming up in the next section, I'm going to tell you the 5 things that all of the blue zone cultures had in common, 5 simple steps that you can take to increase your chances of reaching your genetic potential of 120 years of age. With health, by the way, not 120 years old, wheeling yourself around in a wheelchair, not knowing where you are, but 120 years old chronologically and in your 60s or 70s biologically. Are you up and dancing yet, ladies and gentlemen? You should be. You take your 90 for life, clean your diet up, you're going to be dancing, you're going to be singing a happy tune. Just like the age beaters did, the people that live in the blue zones. Dr. Wallach, one of my favorite books that Wallach wrote is called Immortality. Second only to his autobiography, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, which is a remarkable read. If you've never read that book, get it. It's just a remarkable expose of human being's life, and somebody somewhere said that there are few things as beautiful in the world as a life well lived. Well, if that's the case, and Dr. Wallach has one of the most beautiful lives on the planet, check out his autobiography, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and his book, Immortality. Dr. Wallach researched the people that lived in the blue zones, and as it turns out, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things in common. They were doing 5 things, not on purpose, by accident. They just happened to be doing these things because that's just the way that it worked out for them, and the combination of these 5 things dramatically increased their life expectancies. Now, they did not make it to 120, but they got close. They lived to be over 100 years of age with health. Here's what they did by accident. None of them were eating any fried food. None of them were eating any fried food. Their diets consisted of very little, if any, oil and 0 fried food. As you know, if you've been attending my lectures or my webinars, for reading my book, fried food is loaded with a chemical called acrylamide, and acrylamide causes inflammation and cancer. They didn't have any. And because they eliminated oil in a bottle and fried food, they added at least 5 years to their lifespan. So that's number 1. No fried food, no oil in a bottle. Number 2, they were eating food grown in soil that was minerally rich. Why? Because they were putting the ash from their wood fires into the soil, and ash is 99% minerals. That's what it is, and it's colloidal minerals to boot. Wood ash is mineral supplements. That's what's left in the ash when you burn everything else away. It's the minerals that the plant sucked up out of the ground. So when you put the wood ash in the soil and you put the vegetable seed in the soil, and the vegetables or the fruits grow in soil that's loaded with minerals, you're going to be taking multiple mineral supplements into your body every time you eat those vegetables. And if you put the white potash in your breads and in your stews and in your soups, guess what? You're going to be getting more minerals directly into your bodies, and that's the second thing that they did. They were getting multiple mineral supplements in their food because they cooked and heated with wood, and they put the wood ash in their gardens and in their food. And also, by virtue of the foods that they ate, and all of the long-lived cultures ate meat How about that? None of them were vegetarians. They were getting a requisite amount of vitamins in their body, and amino acids in their body, vitamins and amino acids from the meat that they were eating and the organs. And they just didn't eat the meat. They'd eat the heart and the liver and the kidneys. The heart and the liver and the kidneys and the blood, like the Scots people, like the blood pudding and stuff like that. So they were getting vitamins and amino acids because they were eating animal products, and they were getting the minerals that their bodies needed because they were putting the wood ash in their gardens and in their food. How about that? They weren't eating any oil at all, and they were all consuming something. With the Vilcabambas in Peru, it was a particular type of chocolate. With the Okinawans, it was a particular yam. It was a particular type of sweet potato. With the Bama people in southwestern China, it was a red wine that had snake skins in it, homemade red wine that had snake skins in it. Each of the longest-lived cultures were eating some type of homemade food, or some type of food product that was loaded with antioxidants, and I mean loaded. Their average antioxidant consumption was 20,000 ORAC points a day. 20,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. They were getting, accidentally, United States, we get 1,500. So here's the drill. Supplement with minerals, supplement with vitamins, supplement with the 90 essential nutrients, eliminate oil, eliminate fried food, and consume over 20,000 antioxidant points a day, and you're going to dramatically extend your lifespan. And into the bargain, if you eliminate the other 9 bad foods and make sure you take the 90 essential nutrients requisite for your body health, there's going to be no stopping you, no stopping me, no stopping longevity. Let's lift each other up into health and wealth. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. See you around campus.